The final pay-per-view of all time is next weekend. UFC 323, Dvalishvili versus Ziam 2. The rematch we've all been anticipating is going to be next weekend at UFC 323, the final pay-per-view of all time. Like I said, in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys all my quick picks, my quick predictions. Before we go ahead and get into the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get it started with the early prelim opener of Muhammad Naimov versus Merab Santos. No idea why it says Merab Santos. This is just the beauty of the UFC website. But we got Naimov, who is 13-3 versus Merab Santos, 17-1. Opening up this card, not a bad fight to open up the card. I'm glad this isn't higher up on the card because let's be honest with this one. Every single one of Naimov's fights are boring. We're just going to call it what it is. I'm not going to pretend like Naimov is this calculated, tricky fighter that's super technical and super fun. He's boring. He's boring. Every single one of his fights is boring. He needs somebody that brings a pace, brings pressure, and hopefully Merab Santos does that. But we kind of saw in Merab Santos' fights, he had that really breakout performance on Tough, being the Ultimate Fighter and winning the Ultimate Fighter, getting that knockout over Con Offley, and then coming into the UFC, getting a split robbery against his opponent where he didn't do very much, and then fighting, who did he just fight? He fought that, oh my goodness, I'm not going to remember his name. No way I remember his name. He had a boring fight though last time. I know he had a boring fight last time. So back-to-back kind of boring fights from Merab Santos, and that's what Naimov does as well. So I expect this to be boring, to be slow, to go the distance. But, the fact that Muhammad Naimov is such a big underdog is very tempting in this spot. I think he's a three. I think he's a plus 200 underdog. I think he's a plus 200 underdog against Merab Santos, which is absolutely insane. Naimov gets robberies. He gets decisions. He knows how to point fight very well. And Merab Santos is relatively untested. And he got a split robbery over a very low-level guy early in his UFC debut, I believe. It was a split decision. It was a robbery. He shouldn't have won that fight. I even bet on him. He should not have won that fight. And in this spot, I think Naimov could win this fight, and I think he could win this fight by decision. So I'm going to go with Muhammad Naimov as the underdog. I'm going to start with an underdog pick here. I want to see Merab Santos get a big breakout performance, knock out Naimov. Hopefully he does, but this is just kind of what Naimov does. It's what he does, man. He's going to bring his things out the tool bag, man. He's going to use all his tools, all his weapons, which are just pop, pop, jab, jab, stick, move, jab, move, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of grappling. It's just going to be boring. It's going to be a boring snooze fest, but I'm going to go Muhammad Naimov by decision as the quick pick. We move on. Mansour Abdulmalik versus Antonio Tricoli. Abdulmalik's going to start Tricoli in the first round with relative ease. Easy pick. Look at this and just who's going to win. You know what I mean? This is like one of those fights where you look at Ataba Gote, you look at his opponent, you're like, who's going to win? Look at Mansour Abdulmalik, look at Antonio Tricoli. Who's going to win? It's going to be Abdulmalik. I'm going to go Mansour Abdulmalik. Round 1 knockout. Round 2 maybe if Antonio Tricoli survives, but the guy shouldn't be in the UFC. I don't even remember who's he dating. Is he with Mackenzie Dern or is he with Tabitha Rich? No, not Rich. I have no idea, but I know Antonio Tricoli's only in the UFC because of his girlfriend or his wife or whatever the case may be. He shouldn't be in the UFC. He's terrible. He's trash. He's dog shit. Shouldn't be in the UFC. Cut him. He's going to get cut after getting chinned by Mansour Abdulmalik. So he's going to be my quick pick by knockout. Abdulmalik's going to get it done first. We move on. Iwo Baranievski versus Ibo Aslan. I see what the UFC is doing here. We got Iwo versus Ibo. Who's gonna be the better O? Who's gonna be the better O? Iwo Baranievski, on the Dana White Contender Series this past season, chinned his opponent brutally in the first round. A big hyped up Brazilian knocked him out with a huge left hand, just chinned him bad. And Ibo Aslan, obviously Turkish power. That's how he presents himself. Hasn't had crazy success recently, but he was going on a little knockout streak there in the UFC in his debut, and then his second fight, he was knocking out bums. Knocked out Rafael Sequeira. Sequeira's ran through now. Sequeira's like the girl that's just hitting up every single homie, and he's ran through. So Ibo Aslan, that win hasn't aged well, and then he lost to what's his name, to the guy, I was going to say Urslan. No, it's an Elikana. Billy Elikana by boring snooze fest decision. Literally, they were just looking at each other, staring at each other for 15 minutes, and Ibo Aslan took his eyes off of him for a second, and he lost the decision. So that was a terrible fight. And then Ibo Aslan, before that, he got subbed by Kudalaba, looked terrible. So I'm going to go Iwo Baranievski. People are picking Ibo. I get it. He's big. He's scary. Look at him. He looks like he should be a great fighter, but he's not a fighter. He's not a fighter. He's looked bad in his past 2 fights. Even in his first win in the UFC, it went to the 3rd round. He looked super beat up. I think Iwo's going to chin him. I think he could take him to the ground. He could sub him. I think that Polish power is back. It's Polish power versus Turkish power, and we got Iwo versus Ibo. I love this matchup. I love how they've placed this, but I'm going to go with Iwo Baranievski to get his first win in the UFC, to get a big finish over Ibo Aslan in the 1st round. We move on to the next fight, Edson Barbosa versus Jalen Turner. Man, pack your bags, Edson. Pack your bags, buddy. It's over. It's over. Call it quits. Retire right now, buddy. Jalen Turner's back in the UFC. He's back. He's back. I'm so happy that Turner's back. I mean, was he even out for a year? He was out. He fought at 313. Been sitting out since. He's coming back 323. So 10 cards, 10 pay-per-views later, we got Jalen Turner back. This is good to see, man. I'm happy to see Jalen Turner back, and he's getting a good matchup against Edson Barbosa. This is a very favorable matchup for Jalen Turner. He's the much taller, much rangier guy, much more dangerous, the much more youthful guy. He's catching Edson Barbosa at the end of his career as he's been beat up, as he's been whooped up his entire career. This should be a Jalen Turner win, 100%. I'm going to go with Jalen Turner to get a big bounce-back win here back in the UFC, build up his confidence, be back, feeling fresh, feeling like he took that time off, and he's looking good. You know, he was talking about the pressure that he felt in the UFC. So he took that time off. He's back. I think he gets a big win here, and he'll just build some momentum. I hope he builds some momentum. Good to see Jalen Turner back. I think he's going to get a finish win over Edson Barbosa. I'm going to say he knocks out Edson Barbosa in the 1st round. I think big win by Jalen Turner here. Big bounce back win in the UFC against an older vet, an older guy in Edson Barbosa who can't make 145 anymore, so he's at lightweight. It's not a good look. It's really not a good look. So give me Jalen Turner to win this fight by knockout in the 1st round. We move on. Marvin Vettori versus Bruno Ferreira. Another one where we're like, we see what the UFC is doing here. We're putting blockhead versus finisher. What's going to happen? This is honestly one that I haven't even thought about before breaking down this fight right now. I don't even know who I'm picking. I'm not going to lie. The odds are razor sharp. They're like 50-50, and I think they should be because Marvin Vettori's been on a decline. He's been on a downfall. He's been losing his past few fights. He's on a 3-fight skid right now. You know, he goes from title contention to just losing to Brendan Allen and losing to everybody, losing to literally everybody, losing to Roman Dolidze, you know, in the anticipated rematch. We're going to get that Dolidze versus Vettori 3 in the Apex one day, boys. But Bruno Ferreira, he's a finisher. He's on a streak. He just beat a bum, but it was short notice. And he's been on a streak. He finishes every single one of his opponents. He's been showing off that he's got subs now in his bag. You know, obviously he's had the heavy hands forever. He knocked out Gregory Rodriguez early in his career. I think it was his debut. He knocked out Rodriguez with a big left hand, just starched him. So Bruno Ferreira, the Hulk, he's got big power in his hands, and he showed off that he's got a good submission game as well. I think he's got back-to-back arm bars. Now, he had one against the Armenian guy, or Armin Petrosian, and then he just subbed some bum on the regional scene. But great wins for Bruno Ferreira, and he's been on a streak, so I think he deserves this step up, and Marvin Vettori kind of has to defend his spot, but this is tricky because Marvin Vettori is just a plodster, and this guy just walks towards you much, you know what I mean? A big Italian guy. His chin is unlike anything we've ever seen in the UFC. Unlike anything we've ever seen in the UFC. He's eaten so many shots from Jared Cannonier, so many shots from Izzy, so many shots from Brendan Allen, all these guys. His chin is insane. It's rock solid. So I'm going to go with Marvin Vettori because of the fact that I don't think Bruno Ferreira can finish him. And if you can't finish Marvin Vettori, or a guy like Bruno Ferreira can't finish Marvin Vettori, I don't think he can win a decision against Vettori. I think Vettori still looked pretty good against Brendan Allen. He made it tricky for Allen. It was closer than people thought it was. When you look at the numbers, looking back at that fight, rewatching that fight, Marvin Vettori, even though he's very basic, very simple, he's got a really good 1-2, really good 2-1, really good 1-1-2, really good 2-2-1. You know what I mean? It's pretty similar. Everything he does, it's similar, but you know, he does do it well, and I think he's going to just jab Bruno Ferreira's face off, and maybe he'll even find a finish. I don't know. This is one where I'm not confident at all, but I'm going to go with Marvin Vettori. Rock solid chin, decent grappling, enough to not get subbed by Ferreira. He's going to be bigger. I think he's going to have the good range and keep a good range against Ferreira where he's not going to get clipped. So I'm going to go Marvin Vettori to defend his spot, get a decision win here against Bruno Ferreira. We will move on, though, to the main prelims? Nazim Sadikov versus Fares Ziam, banger lightweight matchup. We've got some banger lightweight matchups on this card, boys. This is one of them. Sadikov coming off of one of the breakout performances, his biggest breakout performance in Azerbaijan, fighting Nicholas Mata, chinned him so brutally. Fight of the night, performance of the night as well. 100K bonus for him, well deserved. In Azerbaijan, looked great. He looked great. He looked really good. Almost got knocked out by Mota in the first. He was dodging and weaving. I think Mota threw like a 60-punch combo, and Sadikov was just weaving, dodging, weaving, and then he came back and and then into the second round, he had him up against the fence. Big right hand, chins Nicholas Mota in Azerbaijan. Insane performance. Really good performance by Sadikov. So he's got some hype on him now. He's got some hype on him, and it's good to see. And we got Ferreira, big hyped up Frenchman as well. His only loss, I think, in the UFC, or one of his only losses in the UFC, is to Terrence McKinney, somebody we're going to talk about in a second. But Ferreira is very good. Very good win streak at the moment. Had that big knockout against Nazim Sadikov's training partner, actually. What's his name? Oh my goodness. Matt Frivola. So Ferreira chin Matt Frivola. Nazim Sadikov trains with Matt Frivola. I also saw Matt Frivola when I went to Vancouver not that long ago, when he literally got knocked out and then he just went to a decision. What the fuck, Dan Mergliotta? But Ferreira's good. He's very good, very technical. He's still young in his career, but he's on a good win streak right now, and he just beat a very good guy in, Mike, the Beast Boy guy. He just beat him by decision. Really clear decision against the guy who was also pretty hyped up. So Ferreira's on a good streak right now. He's doing very well, and this is a really hard fight to predict. The odds are pretty close on this one too. But I am going to go with Nazim Sadikov for a couple reasons. I think Ferreira is very good. I think he's got a high ceiling in the UFC. I think he's got a potential to get into the rankings one day, but I don't think it'll be this weekend. I don't think it'll be today, man. I think Nazim Sadikov is the better striker. I think his grappling is going to be a big factor in this fight, and I think he's actually going to get a submission win over Ferreira. He was able to sub Terrence McKinney. That aids well because Ferreira got subbed by Terrence McKinney. I'm not going to start doing MMA math, but I think Sadikov's going to have the grappling upside, the striking upside. I think Ferreira is the longer, lengthier fighter, but he's not a knockout artist. He got that knee over Frivola, but that's his only finish. If he was more dangerous, if Ferreira had that big one-punch knockout power, maybe I could really look at this, but I think Nazim Sadikov is going to be able to outbox Ferreira. I think he's going to be able to outgrapple him and find a submission win. I reckon he's going to get him to the ground and find a submission win, or at least control Ferreira on the ground. He's training with Merab. I'm pretty sure he lives in Vegas, trains with Merab, trains with Frivola, trains with all those guys out in Vegas, Aljo as well. So I think Sadikov's got the upside here. I think he's going to win this one. Give me Nazim Sadikov the quick pick by submission. Sneaky one by submission, man. We move on. Macy Barber versus Karini Silva. Another one where we got submission versus a BJJ girl versus a boxer. Macy Barber was supposed to fight Erin Blanchfield a few months ago. Had some health issues. I think she had a seizure. She had a seizure or something right before the fight. Cut too much weight, or we have no idea. We have no idea what it was. But the main event was canceled minutes before the main event. It was canceled. So Macy Barber ruined that main event. Had a seizure. Obviously, hope she's okay. I think she is now. She's back. But it's not a good look. It's really not a good look to have a seizure and then come back here and fight a girl in Karini Silva who's very dangerous, who's now training with the Fighting Nerds, who's got a really good submission game, who's dangerous on the ground, really good in the grappling. Arguably didn't really win her last fight. Was very close against, what's her name, Barbosa? I think Barbosa or something. But Karini Silva's good. She is good, and she's underrated, and I think she's going to win this fight. Macy Barber, coming off of a health issue like that, coming off of a seizure, coming off of a big layoff, not having been in the octagon in a while. Karini Silva fresh out of her win last time at 319, good to go with the Fighting Nerds. I think Karini Silva's going to win this fight, and I think she's going to submit Macy Barber with a guillotine or with an arm triangle. I think she's going to get Macy Barber at some point in this fight. Macy Barber's a really good boxer, but her grappling is not very high level. And I think Erin Blanchfield would have ran through Macy Barber and subbed her. I think Karini Silva can do the same. Maybe she won't run through Barber. Barber is good, but I think Karini Silva is going to get her to the mat at some point, and I think she's going to choke her out. So give me Karini Silva as a quick pick by submission. I can really see a guillotine where Barber's forced to shoot a takedown and just gets put right in Karini Silva's guillotine. She's really good with her submissions, especially off of her back. So give me Silva to win this fight by submission. We move on. Terrence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. I told you guys, there's some banger lightweight matchups on this fight card, and this is one of them. This is a fucking war. This is guaranteed war. guaranteed. This is a great fight, probably going to end in the first round. Terrence McKinney does not exit the first round. This guy is first round, kill or be killed, and you love to see it. He does not waste your time. He is all gas, no break. You love to see Terrence McKinney in the octagon. I love watching McKinney fights. And you got Chris Duncan, who's on a great win streak right now, beating all these guys as underdog. He's been an underdog in almost every single one of his fights, beating Blachowicz by submission, beating Jordan Vucenic by submission, or Blachowicz by submission, Jordan Vucenic by submission, and then just beating Matus Rebecki in the Apex, just beating him up and making him bloody and beat up. Like, that was a war. That was a war, and Chris Duncan has looked really good, man. He's looked really, really good. So this is a test. This is a test against Terrence McKinney, because McKinney he's either going to take you down, sub you, chin you in the first second. Like, it's really hard to predict a McKinney fight. It is really hard. And Chris Duncan has been subbed before. He got subbed by Manuel Torres, who we're also going to talk about on this fight card. He got subbed by Torres in the first round via rear naked choke. He's been knocked out before. You know, he got knocked out by Borshev, who Terrence McKinney just subbed in the first round in the first minute with a guillotine choke, which was nasty. So there's a lot of question marks here. A lot of question marks. Really, really tough to predict this one. But I'm gonna go with Chris Duncan. I'm gonna trust my gut, and I'm gonna go with Chris Duncan. I want to pick the sneaky Terrence McKinney pick as the underdog, because he could pull this off. He could just blitz a double leg, take down Chris Duncan, and choke him out, which is what I think he should try to do. That's what I think his game plan should be. I don't think he should try to strike with Chris Duncan, because I think Duncan could chin Terrence McKinney, which is why I'm picking Chris Duncan. I think he's going to chin or guillotine Terrence McKinney in this fight. I think Chris Duncan is on a good streak right now. I think he's got a high ceiling in the UFC. I think he's very tough, very tricky to finish, and I think Terrence McKinney is just a bit too fucking chinny. He's a bit too chinny for my liking. I'm not going to pick a guy who's getting chinned, by head kicks and by just straight punches, and just by something touches a chin and he's wobbly. He's wobbly, you know what I mean? So it's tough. I like Terrence McKinney, but I'm going to go Chris Duncan by round one knockout. Big knockout by Chris Duncan. I think big overhand right. You know, he chinned, I was going to say Tom Nolan. No, Charlie Campbell in the Dana White Contender Series. Big comeback. He was about to get finished, and bang, big right hand. I think he's going to connect with a big right hand like that on McKinney, and we're going to see McKinney go out cold. So give me Chris Duncan for a big breakout performance, big knockout, round one. We move on. Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres. Big fight in the lightweight division here. Grant Dawson, number 13, defending his spot. The UFC does not like Grant Dawson. And let's be honest, we don't like Grant Dawson either. The guy's boring as fuck. No offense, Grant Dawson. You're boring. We want to see you get chinned, and I think he's going to get chinned. Give me Manuel fucking Torres to chin Grant Dawson in the first round. If you're getting knocked out by King Green only like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you're getting knocked out by Manuel Torres. You are going to sleep. I don't care, man. You know, Manuel Torres has been grappled from time to time, but he's got a really strong base, really strong hips. I think it's going to be very tricky for Grant Dawson to take down Manuel Torres, hold him down and choke him out, or hold him down for 15 minutes. I think there's going to be a moment where they're on the feet and Manuel Torres can land that 1-2, or land that step-in elbow, or land in combination with his crazy hooks. He's got mad power at lightweight. He's knocked out Nicholas Mota. He's just knocked out what's his name? Oh my goodness, Daddy Dober. He just knocked out Drew Dober. You know, he's his only loss in the UFC is to Ignacio Bahamondes, where he got a bit overzealous and got, pushed too forward and got chinned. He got clipped and he got put down. But Grant Dawson's not going to do that to you. Grant Dawson is not chinning you. He's not putting you down. He's just trying to hold you down. He's trying to grapple you. He's trying to smush you. He's trying to sub you or TKO you on the mat. I think Manuel Torres is big enough. He's dangerous enough to stay on the feet for long enough to find that shot in the first round. So give me Manuel Torres. Round one knockout. I'm not going to overthink this one. He is the underdog, and I think it's a great position for Manuel Torres to starch Grant Dawson, and I hope he does, because Dawson is boring as fuck. I'm not betting on this guy. I'm not trusting this guy in this fight, where Manuel Torres is he's like 100 times more dangerous than Grant Dawson. Give me Manuel Torres by round one knockout. Just starches Grant Dawson. I hope he does, man. We move on. Bogdan Guskov versus Jan Blachowicz. Great fight to open up the main card. Really, really good fight. Jan Blachowicz is back. Polish power, man. 42 years old. He's still kicking. He is still kicking. And he didn't even have a bad performance against Carlos Ulberg. It was kind of a boring fight, but he did do pretty well, and he arguably could have won that fight. You know, the rounds were kind of close. They were kind of close. So now he's facing Bogdan Guskov, very dangerous striker, Uzbekistani. He trains in Russia with Gore MMA, with Walter Walker, man. I like that team out there. And I'm going to be honest, I do like Bogdan Guskov. So this might be a bit of a biased pick, but I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov to win this. I'm picking a good amount of underdogs on this card, and Jan could have a classic, 29, 28, 30, 27 here, and I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be shocked. This is a bit of a biased pick. I like Bogdan Guskov. I've picked him before. The times that he's been an underdog, he's cashed me almost every time, and he's kind of proven me right almost every time against what's his name, Nikita Krylov. Great performance against Krylov. I predicted that. He was a pretty good underdog, and I was like, he's going to knock out Krylov, man, and he did it. I don't think he's going to chin Jan Blachowicz that early, but I think Jan's just 40. We just got to be realistic with it. Jan is 42 years old, coming off of multiple injuries, big layoffs. He had a 2-year layoff in between the Ferreira and Olberg fight. Not to mention he's on a big layoff now after, I think it's 8 months layoff after that fight with Olberg. Now he's fighting Guskov, very dangerous, 10-year age difference. Guskov's fast, his movement's good, his shot selection is beautiful, and when he connects on you, he doesn't just land one and then just start winging and swinging and missing. He's connecting all of them. You watch all of Guskov's finishes. He's connecting all of his follow-up shots. He doesn't have one-shot knockout power, but when he clips you and then he follows up, all of his follow-up shots connect. Every single one. I think if he's going to get Blachowicz, if he clips Blachowicz, he's going to connect with 10 to 15 follow-up shots, which is what he did against Ryan Spann. He did it against Nikita Krylov. He did it against all of the guys that he's knocked out, man. And don't get me wrong, Jan could grapple here. He could try to go for a submission, but because of Jan's injuries, we haven't seen him grapple. We haven't seen him grapple in over 3 years now. So I can't trust Jan Blachowicz, 42 years old, coming off of multiple injuries, to grapple up Guskov for 15 minutes, who's way more dangerous, way more tricky, who is going to look for a finish this entire fight. I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov to get this one done by finish. I like Jan Blachowicz. I think he could squeak this one out, but I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov. I'm going to trust my gut with this one too, and it is a bit of a biased pick, but I'm going to go Guskov by finish as the quick pick. We move on. Payne Talbot versus Henry Cejudo. I was first looking at this fight. This is Cringe Master versus Frank Ocean. This is crazy matchup here, but when I first looked at this fight, I was like, holy shit, hammer Henry Cejudo. I was like, yo, this might be a classic Henry Cejudo win, boys. This might be it, man. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think Henry Cejudo is going to win this fight. I think it's possible. I think he could win this fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But look at the height difference. Look at the height difference. Look at the reach difference. Look at the size difference. Henry Cejudo is a former flyweight. He's now a bantamweight. And I don't think he's going to beat Payne Talbot in his retirement fight. This is like his 10th retirement fight, I swear. This is his 10th retirement fight, but he's fighting Payne Talbot. Even though Payne Talbot did get destroyed by Raoni Barcelos, we got to call it what it is. He shouldn't have clipped his hair. His hair is back. He's growing it back, thank God. But I think Payne Talbot's going to win this fight. I think he's going to win a decision win over Henry Cejudo here, because they want him to win. I think this is one of those fights where the scorecards could already be written. They don't want Henry to be in the top 10. They don't want to keep paying this guy $300,000, $400,000 per fight. You think they want to keep paying Cejudo 6 figures per fight? No, they do not. They did not want to pay. They did not want to have Cejudo in that main event against Song Yadong, where he got eye poked, right? He was doing decent in that fight, but I think Payne Talbot's bigger. He's longer. He's rangier. He's not going to get completely dominated in the grappling, because Cejudo just didn't even do that against Song. He didn't even show that against Song. He was just striking. If he does that with Payne, he's losing this fight. And I think he might just try to do that because he just wants to go out with a striking fight, man. He just might want to go out like that. So I'm going to go Payne Talbot. Not too super confident. He is a big favorite. Again, like, he shouldn't be against former champ Cejudo. But Cejudo's old. He's slow. He's small. I don't see him pulling this one off. And the UFC want Payne Talbot to take his spot at number 10. They want him to take that ranking. So I'm going to go Payne Talbot to win this fight by decision. I think Henry Cejudo is tough enough to not get chin, but I'm going to go Payne Talbot to win it by decision. We move on. Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Moreno. I am going with Brandon Moreno. I like Tatsuro Taira. I think the guy's tricky. I think he's very good. I think he's very talented. He's young. He's still super young in his career. I think he's only 25 or 26. Brandon Moreno's already been there, done that. But Brandon Moreno is tricky. He's very difficult. You might look at their records and be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go with Tatsuro Taira. A lot of people are going to be going on Taira this week. The odds were even. Now they're siding with Taira because people are hammering that line. I think Moreno's going to surprise a lot of people, man. Moreno's looked good in his last two. Urseg just whooped him for 25 minutes, just boxed his face off. Albazi as well just whooped him up. Made Albazi look like he shouldn't even be in the top 10 of the division. And Moreno's consistent with what he does. His only losses in his past, I think, 5 fights are to Royval by split. and to the champ Pantoja by split. So are we really going to pretend like Moreno's not still there? You know what I mean? I think Moreno is still there. I think he's still as good as he was. I think Moreno's going to win this fight by decision. You know, Tatsuro Taira had a very close one with Royval, lost a split as well, just like Moreno did. And it was a close competitive fight, but Tatsuro Taira, the problem is that his striking is not nearly as good as Brandon Moreno's is. It's not nearly as good. And we can look at the grappling and be like, okay, Taira's definitely got the better grappling, but Moreno is like sneaky good on the ground. He's sneaky good on the ground. He's sneaky good at scrambles, sneaky good on the feet. He's very good. But on the ground, he can transition well through positions, and I think Moreno's going to be fine on the ground against Tatsuro Taira. I don't see Taira subbing Moreno in this fight. I think Moreno's going to keep this on the feet and just box him off for 3 rounds. So give me Brandon Moreno to win this fight by decision. This is going to be a close fight. This is a competitive fight, and the winner of this is probably going to fight for the belt. Probably going to fight Pantoja next, which we're going to talk about in a second, but this is a really good fight. I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno as the quick pick by decision. We move on to the co-main event. Alessandro Pantoja versus Joshua Van. Van's getting his title shot. This is a great fight. This is a solid fight. This is a fight where we're looking at the most youthful guy in the top 15 fighting the oldest guy in the top 15, or one of the oldest guys in the top 15, the champion in Pantoja. This is a great matchup, a great fight. I mean, Pantoja's got double the amount of wins as Joshua Van. When Pantoja made his debut, his professional fighting debut, Joshua Van was like 5 years old, which is crazy stuff. So Van is super young, getting this opportunity. This is early in his career. If he wins this, he's set up for a great career. But, big but, I don't think he's going to win this fight. I think Pantoja's just too good right now. I think he's too good right now. He's too consistent with what he's doing. His momentum, his charisma, all play a factor into his fight style. And I think Pantoja's developing his fight style now. It's kind of like Merab. If you guys haven't seen my Merab breakdown video, check that one out. I posted that one yesterday. But Pantoja has been developing his game because his grappling is so good. He's been developing his striking. He's been out there striking like a prime Aldo. He's been striking like a prime Jose Aldo. Or prime Aldo, what am I saying? Double leg kicks, you know, the jabs, the right hands. He's been looking really good, really crisp on the feet recently. Pantoja has, you know, he's been beating dangerous guys like Kai Asakaroshi, who's way bigger than him, subbed him with ease, and then just beat Kai Kara-France and made him look like he wasn't meant to be there, you know? So I don't see Joshua Van coming in here, boxing up Pantoja for 25 minutes. Urseg almost did it. Don't get me wrong. Urseg almost did it, but the difference was Urseg was bigger. He was lengthier. You know, he was a trickier matchup for Pantoja. I think Joshua Van, the fact that they're the same size makes it so much easier for Pantoja to close the distance, get inside and get his trips, get his takedowns, and find a submission win over Joshua Van. I'm going to go with Pantoja to win this fight by submission. Round 4, round 5 submission. I think Joshua Van's going to be doing very well early, but I think Pantoja's just going to carry this one out into the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and just get that dog mentality out and just dog this one out and find a submission win over Joshua Van. Rear naked choke. It's his thing. It's what he does. Joshua Van's been subbed before in his career. One of his 2 losses, or actually I think 2 of his only 2 losses might be by submission. Well, at least one of his 2 losses by submission. I think Pantoja can find the sub. It's too early in Joshua Van's career. I think he will be champ one day, but not today, man. Not today. Not against Pantoja. Pantoja's too good right now. Give me Pantoja as a quick pick by submission. We move on. Main event. Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan, boys. This is a rematch. It is a rematch. The first fight was 2 years ago. This is the kind of thing that we like to see. A rematch that's years after. Both these guys have had multiple fights in between. Now it's fresh. Now it's like, okay, there could be something different in this fight. Rather than running Lopez versus Volk 2, not even a fucking year after they do the first fight. Pisses me off. Absolutely pisses me off. We just got that news yesterday. The worst matchmaking I've ever seen in my entire life. Volk versus Lopez 2. You got to be kidding. There's insane bias. It's not even a ranking thing anymore. It's not even like who's the best. It's who's the most popular. Like, it's pathetic. It's pathetic, but I'm not going to go ranting. Merab Dvalishvili is going to win this fight against Petr Yan. I made a whole video about it. I broke down the entire fight. I'm not going to go too into depth right now, but I'm going to go with Merab for obvious reasons. The win streak, the momentum, the cardio, the striking that he's developed, the sneaky striking that he's developed, that right hand, the left hand. He's been putting in combinations. We've never seen Merab do this. He almost knocked out Corey Sandhagen. He subbed Sean O'Malley in the rematch. He's been getting some finishing instincts, trying to find finishes, and I think he's going to finish Petr Yan. I think he's going to find a finish over Yan, who's never been finished before, who's never had any difficulties getting close to being finished, to be honest. But Merab, I think, is so good now, has leveled up so much that he's going to get to a point where he's just looking for finishes. He's lapping the division. This is his second fight against Jan. He rematched Sean. He rematched Jan. And I think it's going to be the same thing. That first fight was pretty close, right? Him versus Sean and him versus Jan was, okay, it wasn't close. It was 50-45. But I think the second fight, he's like, oh shit, I already did this. Now I'm going to go in there. Now I'm going to finish. And I think he's going to get a finish over Petr Yan by submission. I think the headlock can be there. He's got a really good headlock. He used it a lot in that first fight against Yan, but he didn't have the finishing instincts. He didn't have the submission game developed. Now I think he does. He's got the ninja choke. He's got the guillotine. He's got the Dars choke he can use. I think he can mix things up here. And I think Dvalishvili is going to find a submission win over Petr Yan in the third or fourth round. That's going to be my prediction. That's going to be my quick pick for this fight. I'm locking in Merab. My lock of the week, Merab Dvalishvili, I think he's pulling off. I don't see a scenario where Jan flukes a knockout. I think it's the only scenario where he wins. We haven't seen Jan knocking out anybody. I don't think it's happening this time. So give me Merab as the quick pick by submission. Those are all my picks for UFC 323. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop it down in the comments what you guys think about this main card, what you guys think about this fight card in general, the final pay-per-view of the year, who you guys are picking in the main event, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you.